Benoit Coeure, who was appointed to the executive board of the ECB in 2011, claimed the two financial organizations have a unique trust relationship, regardless of the final Brexit outcome. He said, "Our relationship with the Bank of England is one of the main assets that we have. We have a trust relationship with the Bank of England, and that will be a very strong asset for the future." The French economist was reminded that a huge part of the EU financial industry is in the UK, that fundraising for the broader EU is based in England, the clearing, the Forex and the bond trading. Interviewer Steve Sedgwick reminded the ECB official, if the financial industry is taken away or access to those markets is taken away, that leaves a huge black hole for countries like Ireland or Germany who feel they can fill the gap but can't necessarily. Mr. Coeure responded, "Any such movement has to be led by the industry. It has to be led by the market. What we want to see as the central bank, as overseer or supervisor, is that effective supervision continues to be delivered, wherever the financial industry is located. Location choices are for the industry to make themselves." Mr. Carney was an integral part of former Chancellor George Osborne's attempts to thwart the Brexit vote, known as Project Fear. CNBC Getty Brexit News, ECB executive reveals COSY relationship with Bank of England. "We have a trust relationship with the Bank of England." Benoit Coeure, ECB executive. In November, the bank raised core interest rates from 0.25% to 0.5% because of the noticeable impact on the economic outlook, but the governor appeared to have a change of heart when he reassured the government would not have to worry about Brexit's impact on the financial sector. He said, "The government doesn't have to worry about the impact on the financial sector because it will be able to withstand and support the economy." It follows claims the Brexit negotiations are going quite well, thanks to a changing attitude amongst member states who have identified a smooth transition is in everybody's interests, a top EU official has declared. CNBC Brexit News, the ECB executive said his organization would not decide financial industry movement. Jyrki Katainen, European Commission Vice President for Jobs, Growth, Investment and Competitiveness, claimed that the initial reaction to Brexit had been negative, but over time that had softened. He said, "Absolutely, the positive thing in this Brexit negotiation is there is no negative attitude at all. In the very beginning member states were negative, but at the moment it is fine. It is not business as usual, but negotiations with Mr. Fox, Mr. Davis and Mr. Johnson are going quite well. I do not say there is a positive atmosphere, but there is no negative attitude." Mr. Katainen warned that the biggest outstanding problem in negotiations was security and the border with Northern Ireland. He continued, "We tried to solve the tricky problem that Britain has created. It is in everybody's interest to have a smooth transition and a good relationship in the future. The biggest problem is security. The Northern Ireland problem is tricky. I do not know how to solve it, but obviously, it must be solved. The future trade agreement between the EU and the UK is going to be worse than the situation today, but tricky to say how good it will be." The former Prime Minister of Finland revealed that Brexit is not the biggest problem facing the Brussels bloc and leaders need to speak up to avoid rising populist movements. He added, "Some political leaders are questioning liberal democratic values, and this kind of trend is much more worrisome than Brexit. At the end of the day, we make a compromise with the UK and we will settle the issue, but we cannot make compromises over the rule of law or fundamental values. I encourage our member states to be vocal if they find such problems. We need to show that the EU is strong enough and is based on liberal democratic European values. If prime ministers see a problem, they need to speak up."